Have you ever noticed how a narcissist can ruin your entire day with just one look, one comment, or one silent treatment? It's not random. They know exactly how to push you until you feel unstable. And then they stand back and act innocent while you question yourself. This is how they control you, not by force, but by making you doubt your own emotions. They want you reactive, defensive, and desperate to prove yourself because the more you chase clarity, the more power they hold. That's why every argument feels like a trap and every apology feels empty. In this video, you'll finally understand how narcissists twist your emotions into weapons and how recognizing their tactics is the first step to breaking free from the cycle they've built around you. They provoke you on purpose. With a narcissist, nothing is ever an accident. That sarcastic comment, that subtle dig, that look designed to humiliate you in front of others, it's all intentional. They push your buttons because they want the reaction. The angrier, more defensive, or more emotional you become, the more control they feel. To them, your reaction is proof that they can pull your strings whenever they want. And when you finally snap, they step back, play calm, and act like you're the unstable one. This is their favorite game: bait you, trigger you, and then use your reaction as evidence against you. And the truth is, they don't want resolution, they want chaos. They thrive on the high of making you lose control because it feeds their ego and keeps you off balance. And once you understand this, you stop blaming yourself for being too emotional. You start to see that your reactions were engineered. And that awareness is the first step to taking your power back. They twist your words against you. With a narcissist, even your most honest words can be turned into weapons. You might try to explain how you feel, hoping they'll finally understand, but instead they flip your emotions back on you. If you say you're hurt, they'll call you too sensitive. If you say you're angry, they'll claim you're crazy or overreacting. The very emotions you share in good faith become their proof that you're the problem. And the more you try to defend yourself, the deeper you sink into their trap. This isn't about misunderstanding, it's about control. Narcissists twist your words because it keeps the spotlight off their behavior and puts it back on you. By making you look unstable, they get to play the calm, rational one while you're left doubting your own sanity. And over time, that pattern conditions you to stay quiet, to hide your real feelings, because anything you say will eventually be used against you. They gaslight your reality. One of the narcissist's most powerful tools is gaslighting, making you question what you saw, what you felt, and even what you know to be true. You bring up something they clearly said and they deny it flat out. You react to something cruel they did and they dismiss it as if you imagined it. They minimize your pain with lines like, "You're overreacting," or "That never happened." And after enough repetition, you start to doubt yourself. You replay conversations in your head, wondering if you really did get it wrong. You second guess your own memory, your own instincts, your own truth. That's exactly what they want, because a person who doubts themselves is easier to control. The more you question your own reality, the more you lean on theirs. Gaslighting isn't about facts, it's about power. It's how they make you dependent, how they keep you walking in circles, and how they slowly convince you that trusting them makes more sense than trusting yourself. They reward calm, punish emotion. Over time, you start to notice a pattern. When you stay calm, the narcissist eases up. When you show emotion, anger, sadness, frustration, they come down harder. This is no coincidence, it's conditioning. By punishing your natural reactions, they train you to suppress your feelings just to avoid the fallout. You learn to walk on eggshells, to keep a poker face even when you're breaking inside, because you know showing emotion will only make things worse. And when you do manage to stay calm, they act like everything is fine. That small relief feels like a reward, so you cling to it, thinking maybe you finally figured out how to keep the peace. But the truth is, peace doesn't come from controlling your emotions. It comes from them controlling you. The more you hide what you feel, the more power they gain. It's not about harmony, it's about silence. And silence is exactly what keeps you trapped. They create chaos, then blame you. With a narcissist, the fight usually starts long before you realize it. They'll drop a cruel comment, pick at an old wound, or shift their story just enough to trigger confusion. And when you finally react, when you raise your voice, cry, or demand answers, suddenly you're the one who started it. This is their playbook: create chaos, sit back, and then point to your reaction as the real problem. It's a trap designed to keep you chasing your own tail while you're busy defending why you reacted. No one is looking at what they did to provoke it in the first place. And that's the point: deflection. They don't want accountability, they want control. By making you believe your reaction is the issue, they shift the focus away from their behavior. Over time, you start blaming yourself, apologizing for things you didn't cause, and carrying guilt that was never yours to begin with. They use silence as a weapon. The silent treatment feels like a wall you can't break through. One moment, they're cold and distant, and the next, they're pretending nothing happened. That silence isn't just withdrawal, it's control. Narcissists know that your natural instinct is to seek resolution, to talk things out, to fix what feels broken. By shutting down and refusing to engage, they put you in a desperate position. You're left replaying every detail, wondering what you did wrong, and scrambling to make peace just to end the silence. But here's the truth: the silent treatment was never about solving anything, it was about power. The longer they withhold their attention, the more control they gain because you end up chasing them instead of holding them accountable. It conditions you to believe that keeping them comfortable is the only way to avoid punishment. And that's exactly what they want: for you to see their silence as a punishment and your compliance as the only escape. They feed on your guilt and over apologies. One of the narcissist's most effective weapons is guilt. They know you hate conflict and they know you care deeply about how your actions affect others. So they twist that empathy against you. The smallest disagreement suddenly becomes all your fault. If you set a boundary, they paint you as selfish. If you show emotion, they accuse you of being unfair or cruel. And because you don't want to be the bad guy, you end up apologizing again and again, even when you've done nothing wrong. Every unnecessary apology is fuel for them. It tells them their manipulation is working, that you'll bend under the weight of guilt to keep the peace. Over time, you start saying sorry just to prevent arguments until apologizing becomes automatic. That's how they keep control, not by being right, but by keeping you on the defensive. Your guilt becomes their shield, and your over apologies become the chains that keep you tied to their game. They keep you walking on eggshells. Living with a narcissist feels like living in a minefield. You measure every word, every expression, every reaction because you never know what will set them off. It's not just the big arguments, it's the constant tension, the way you scan their mood the moment they walk into the room, the way you rehearse conversations in your head just to avoid saying the wrong thing. That's what walking on eggshells really is: constant emotional surveillance. And it's exhausting. What makes it so dangerous is that it becomes normal. You start believing that this level of tension is just how relationships are. But it's not, it's control. By keeping you in a state of constant alertness, they trap you in an invisible cage where your focus is always on them and never on yourself. That's how they win, not by breaking you all at once, but by keeping you small, anxious, and contained. And once you see it for what it is, you realize the cage was never love. It was manipulation dressed as survival. You've carried the weight of their control for too long, and maybe you didn't even realize it until now. The games, the silence, the guilt, none of it was love, it was power. And the moment you see it clearly, you start to take that power back. Healing doesn't happen overnight, but every step you take toward recognizing the pattern is a step toward freedom. If this video helped you feel understood, consider subscribing so you don't walk this path alone. Here you'll always find words that remind you of your strength, not your weakness. And before you go, ask yourself this: how many times have you silenced your own feelings just to keep someone else comfortable?